first of all, honest, yes. Everyone can be honest. I mean, helpful, it depends who you're trying to help. For instance, if you're trying to help reformers from within the Islamic world, is it helpful to keep on promoting the extremists, as you do in America, as we do here? Is it helpful to keep on elevating the people who basically hate the reformers more than anyone? By the way, that's always a huge giveaway. I mean, whenever you meet anyone who's from the Muslim communities here or in America who just like wants to crush the Muslim reformers, you've learned everything you need to know about their own actual beliefs. But if you do want to help a genuine reform, then you could start by being honest, and my view is you allow the space to open up in which these people can do their best. I have a slightly, you may not want to include this, but I have a slightly bleak view of the follow-on of this, which is that you may decide that the thing you want to help is your own society not to get involved in this terrible, horrible civil war. And this is a big subject of concern to me. It's sort of the point of my recent book is, I mean, we in Europe have had so many wars and civil wars and wars of religion. I mean, people forget that before the wars of the nation states, this continent was racked by the wars of religion. Are we that happy about reopening them? And what's more, reopening them with an imported religion? I'm not happy about that, and I think we have to be very, very careful about this. And the unpleasant, as it were, rider to this is that, you know, historically, it's a point I made to Maajid that night, our debate. Historically, there have been a lot of reformers within Islam, or let's say regular reformers, and they've always lost. Now, pointing that out may make me the most terrible, bigoted, anti-Islamic, etc., but I think it's borne out by the facts. And at the very least, it ought to lead you to wonder about the wisdom of basically throwing yourself into the center of this fight when you may make the losing side your own. Now that, by the way, this has very complex repercussions. My view is that you simultaneously help the reformers and liberalizers wherever you can, and accept that they are a minority, and that although most Muslims are obviously not the extremists, nevertheless most would rather just get on with life and, where necessary, protect the faith. And you just have this terrible problem. What if? How can you make sure that if they do lose, it doesn't screw up your entire society? And that bit of the conversation is one that you're a million miles away from in America. But, you know, let me put it this way. What if the few people that I can count on one hand in America who are prominent left-wing, liberal, Muslim, reformist women, what if all of the crap they get from your media, from your politicians, from all of the communal groups and everything, what if they either decide to just give up, go home, get bumped off, or whatever? Who are you left with? You got Linda Sarsour and a bunch of people like that. Great. I mean, that's I think where you're heading in the US, because like here, the cost of entry for the reformers has been made so high. I mean, everyone can see what it's cost Ayan. I think some people know the price that Maajid's had to pay in his own life. And, you know, by comparison, your kind of, nasty anti-American, just obviously just Islamic supremacist in their view of the world, and anti-reformer people like Sarsour will be the only one standing, because they don't get any crap. I mean, who on the left in America finds the kind of pro-Sharia extreme women in the US and goes for them? I mean, okay, you've got some right-wing nut jobs, and you've got a few right-wing non-nut jobs, but that in itself causes a problem, and then it makes the left wobbly, and they don't want to get into it, and they think, ooh, maybe it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other at most. But it's a generational failing on the American left, and you'll end up with the leaders you wished for. But as I say, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with the men. I mean, I could count on one hand the Muslim men in America who are trying to reform this and are brilliant people and are really, really putting everything on the line. They get no support. I mean, they just get no support. They spend their lives being traduced by left-wing institutions. They get put on hit lists by so-called liberal groups. And I mean, who'd want to get into that business? And if you a growth business should look attractive. It should look like something you'd want to join. Who'd want to join something when you know that at the most you'll have to pay with your life, and at the least you'll just have to pay with your reputation as you're gleefully smeared by a bunch of dolts?